And then this moment where everything's put together. Show me inside the Nomad deck.
Let's take a look.
What is Project Nomad and why is everybody going nuts for it?
Project Nomad is a self-contained, offline knowledge stockpile. And it can even fit inside a box.
Okay, so it was what, 2 months ago, you reach out.
Yeah.
And you say, I have something that I think you'd be interested in.
I have an idea for you.
Yeah, exactly, right? So the idea is mummies take over the world.
Right.
You have the sum total of human knowledge, but no way to access it on the internet. Now, in the olden days, on a Spanish sea galleon, they'd say, we have encyclopedias.
Yes, we have books.
Yeah, exactly. You usually had a scholar to go with those, right?
Yes.
So Project Nomad, if I'm understanding it correctly, is not only a vast repository of data in an off-grid, offline environment.
Correct.
But it also is a local LLM that has fully ingested all of it, so you could just talk to a copy of Survivalist Paradise?
That's correct. Yeah, so this was all born out of the idea that I wouldn't know what to do if the internet's gone, right? I rely on the internet every day, so...
Yeah, and your day job is to provide connectivity to people.
Of course, yes, but without that connectivity, what do you do? Like, what if you don't know how to tourniquet a wound, or what if you don't know how to purify water, right? How do you get that information? I'm gonna ask my own local large language model, and it's just gonna tell me how to do it.
So the idea itself instantly captured my imagination. And apparently I'm not the only one. You put this up as a totally open source project.
Correct.
On GitHub.
Yep, free and open source, 31,000 stars on GitHub.
Is that a lot of stars? I assume
it's a lot of stars on GitHub, yeah.
Okay. How complicated is it?
It's actually pretty easy, and that's what we designed this for. Now, a lot of the stuff that's contained within Project Nomad is nothing new. It's a ton of different open source projects. The idea was take all of those disparate projects and bring them together in an incredibly easy to install and use form factor, and then also make sure that it's updated regularly, automatically, so that when you need to yank it offline, it's ready for you.
All you have to do is, download stuff onto a USB, take an image file?
That's right, yeah. So if you have x86 hardware lying around, you can install Project Nomad. It doesn't work on ARM-based stuff like Raspberry Pi or the Apple Silicon, but an old laptop, a mini PC, an old gaming rig that you don't use anymore, the more hardware you can throw at it, the better. You install Linux, it's Ubuntu, and then you have one command to install all of Project Nomad, then you download all of the content that you want.
After that, it's like you've got the scaffolding for your library. You just decide what modules you want to make space for.
Exactly.
And then maybe you've got, let's say, a remote outpost and you're already pretty off-grid. The PCs stay in one place, connected to the internet, always updating, and then internet goes away, scary thing to think of, and everything is still there. That is a maybe someday scenario. But meanwhile, there are today remote places that don't have the internet that people are going into.
Sure. There are certainly political reasons that the internet might not be there.
You go in hiding.
Or warfare reasons, but also,
you're living in mines because the mummies have wrapped the surface world.
That's good.
Okay.
Yes, that's actually pretty good. I gotta write that one down. No, but if you have a hurricane, natural disaster, wildfires, right, where they have to shut down the power grid in order to prevent the spread of the wildfire. Here in Texas, the grid was not exactly 100% for a while, right? So if that goes down completely, now you have a source of all of the internet information that everyone's used to.
Okay, so the project is totally free, totally open source.
Yes.
Everyone can start playing right now by going where?
Projectnomad.us.
It'll be obvious what to click on?
Yeah, very simple. There I have a full installation video that walks you through step-by-step everything you need to do.
Show me inside the Nomad deck.
Let's take a look.
Okay, so talk me through the hardware. What am I looking at?
This right here is a little travel router, right? Because if you're going to be connecting to this device...
Can I connect to it?
Of course you can.
Really?
Yes, you absolutely can. The SSID is Nomad.
Okay.
If you have a client device on a laptop or on a smartphone, you can just open up the IP address and browse right to this. Boom. So there you go. So you've got now Nomad on your phone. You can connect on a laptop. Anyone that's within range of this little travel router can connect to this and use all of the information that's contained within this box.
So the information library alone, what all's in this?
All of Wikipedia is in there.
Okay.
You've got medical references. You've got literally thousands of books in there. tons of survival manuals, a lot of IT manuals. You can see like the Docker manual there.
Yeah.
All sorts of just miscellaneous stuff that you might need.
So I assume that this isn't just for mobile devices connected by Wi-Fi.
No.
I assume that everything's in the box,
You
right?
could certainly do it here as well. And the brains of this whole operation is this little guy right here. This is a Ryzen 9 CPU mini PC. These things run about $1,000. You could certainly do this on cheaper hardware if you had it, but of course, the more hardware you throw at this, the better it's gonna be for things like LLMs, right? In this case, I've got a little keyboard here. Pull this out, and now I've got full control over this Nomad box. So, mini PC, this is a battery. The biggest and heaviest part of this whole deck, of course.
Yeah.
But this battery right here will keep this little mini PC, the monitor, and the router up and running for about 4 to 5 hours. And it also will take solar input to extend that to maybe 7 or 8 hours.
So in our scenario, you're gonna want some kind of ability to generate enough power to get that battery all the way full. So I don't know, you got a couple of old dudes who earn their keep by pedaling bicycles.
Yes.
Right?
And then while it's idle, this is barely drawing any power whatsoever. Under sort of normal computing scenarios, you're looking at probably 35 to 50 watts. And then if you're really hammering on the LLM, that's gonna spike up to about 100 watts.
So what is the benefit of having a mini PC over just say a laptop or something?
Mostly it's going to be a better CPU. It's also going to be much more power conservative than a lot of the laptops, even the ones that have a graphics card built in, because the graphics card is what takes a lot of the processing power, especially when you're running queries against the LLM.
Okay, and then that's where we get to the real synthesis, because remember, the worst scenario was the one where somebody just had a copy of Wikipedia but no time.
Right.
The best scenario before now was the Spanish Sea Galleon with a library and a scholar. That's pretty much what you have here, all on device.
Yep.
You know what occurs to me is if somebody has complicated feelings about using LLMs or AI in general because they're concerned about power or saving water, none of that's a concern.
No,
everything's
this is
right here.
Completely local. So we're based in an open source project called Ollama. And then you can come over here. You can name your AI assistant. I named mine Houdini for this box right here. And then just like you know, a ChatGPT or Gemini that you're used to, you can just ask it a question and it will query the local LLM. And importantly, you can upload your own documents to this and then ingest those into the AI, and then it will query your own documents.
So you download all of the modules in there. Does it do a thing where it chews and compiles and has it all available?
It sure does, yeah. So that's in our knowledge base. It's right here. You download an offline model, right? And those are readily available. That's your sort of point in time where you now have that amount of information, and you can just choose to add things to the processing queue, keeping in mind that when you add something to the processing queue, it takes about 5 to 10x the size of that document to ingest it properly into the LLM.
So the LLM becomes, it's like a blob that just gets bigger and bigger the more data you throw at it?
Kind of, but it's called a quadrant database or quadrant database.
Okay, so we're in Nomadistan, which ironically we're trapped in, mummy apocalypse.
Right.
But, and then we've got, I don't know, adorable 7-year-old girl who asks, from the before times when we were on the surface, what was spectrography?
Yeah.
And she mispronounces it like that because she's adorable. Spectroscopy.
Oh, there it is, spectroscopy.
It's a scientific technique.
Even with my misspelling, it came up with the answer.
That's great. Ask it to tell a story so that it can teach a lesson to a 7-year-old girl.
Okay, let's see how that does that. So this is running a model called Llama 3.2. It's a 1 billion parameter model, which means that it's not the smartest model out there, but it's good enough that it will work on this box. Certainly if you throw more hardware and a really good video card with a lot of VRAM at this, it will perform a lot better with higher end models that have just way more information programmed in.
Yeah, and I guess as we're recording this, this is sort of the 0 to 1 moment of this project. I have to imagine that in the after times, shortly after the mummy uprising, that the llama models are so good.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
So let's scroll up a little bit. We'll see what this story is.
Yeah, once upon a time in a land far, far away, there's a little scientist named Max. This is amazing. Okay, so the 7-year-old finally goes to bed having learned about spectroscopy. Meanwhile, maybe her uncle comes in. We lost 3 support beams today. These mines, there's too much of some soft mineral. I heard in the before times we were in some place called the Andes. What is this made of, and what should I do?
All right.
Digging tunnels in the mountains of the Andes is a complex and challenging thing. Water contamination, geological hazards, human health risks, respiratory diseases, tunnel dust. Then the village elder wants to read the original Wikipedia. Can we find articles?
Certainly can. I'm going to go to my information library.
Yep.
And then right here we have Wikipedia.
Well, see, actually, this is where I wanted the LLM, because the scholar could make a recommendation to the captain, right? In the galleon situation. So in this case, let's say somebody wants to be a good leader, and you could just ask the LLM, what are some of the great leader speeches I should read from Wikipedia?
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Inspiring speeches.
In mine shafts. Mine shafts.
Do you want in mine shafts?
Yeah.
All right.
In mine shafts.
About mine shafts?
Yeah.
This is going to throw it for a loop.
We'll see. It just says, Chris and Brian, I have been waiting for this.
Oh, now this says, Mineshaft is a Minecraft server.
Yeah, okay.
And then it goes into Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Winston Churchill.
You know what? They loved Minecraft.
Of course.
As it's listing it, it says 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Local models are not infallible.
Yeah. Hallucinations are less bad with the chatbots that we use nowadays, but boy, they were really bad just a couple of years ago. Get ready for even worse than that.
The smaller the model, the less accurate the answer, but the bigger the model, the more horsepower required to run it to get a better answer.
Can it link to those? Or I guess now we could take any of these.
So
the
I
idea
can
that
take this.
these are speeches. Socrates' apology speech.
Or Socrates, if you go by Bill and Ted. And so I can take that, I can pop over to Wikipedia, I can search, and let's see if it has that. There we go.
Look at that.
Oh, but this says it's Plato's speech.
Plato wrote about Socrates himself.
Oh, the
didn't write it.
apology of Socrates. Yeah, there it is. Okay. And all of these have links to everything else.
Yeah. Well, and once you're in the Wikipedia rabbit hole, you could just keep on going forever.
Of course.
And ever. That's amazing.
And you might be asking, how much drive space does all of Wikipedia take?
Actually, I'll say, is it 100 gigabytes?
You're very close.
Yeah?
You're definitely Price is Right rules. It's about 126 gigs.
Wow.
Is the latest version of Wikipedia.
That's amazing. And so you mentioned that for the LLM to access that cloud, you want to 5 to 10x that?
Yeah.
So we're looking at, how big is the drive in there?
This drive is only 1 terabyte, right? So if I told this system to ingest all of Wikipedia, it would end up about 5x that size on the disk. Not to mention, this does not have a strong GPU. So smoke would start coming out the vents of this device, and the battery would drain in about 2 hours.
Okay, man. All right. So I think I grasp like how very important this box would be in this scenario, or many other scenarios. What are your favorite things to look at?
Yeah, so beyond the LLM, we have an education platform. There's an open source K through 12 education called Khan Academy.
Oh, of course, Khan Academy is amazing.
We have full Khan Academy in here with videos.
Yeah.
Then over here we have offline maps of the entire planet. There we go, there's some full street level maps.
Oh, that's great.
And then we have things like Jellyfin. Are you aware of Jellyfin?
I am not.
So all of these things are essentially little Docker containers. And Docker containers are basically like, if you have a server, you have little Lego blocks, and each Lego block is its own separate open source project. And so you can basically build out your Nomad server with all these little Lego blocks. One of them is Jellyfin. If I open up Jellyfin, here we can see I've got movies. These are all DRM-free public domain movies. Night of the Living Dead, Last Man on Earth, Metropolis. Here's classical music. Here's a bunch of NASA stuff, right? So science stuff. And you can just come in here and let's hit Night of the Living Dead.
Yes, beautiful.
And now our children who've never seen a movie before because they've been locked in this mine for so long.
But they won't be confused and think that this is like a documentary or anything, because the robot will explain it to them.
That's right, yeah. And so
unless it hallucinates. And so because this is an open source project, I assume the library of things is just going to get bigger?
Yes, so not only is the library of things going to get bigger, the main focus of this project for us, because we didn't create, Wikipedia or, Jellyfin or any of these things. We are packaging those other open source projects in an incredibly easy to use, user-friendly interface, and we've built it in such a way that it can keep itself up to date so that users can set it and forget it, right? That was the key thing, is the user experience. So, one of the things that we've done is we've added this new concept of a supply depot, basically our name for an app store.
Yeah.
You can open up the supply depot and you can search through all of our pre-curated apps and you can install them, or if you are aware of something that you want to install yourself, you can just add that as a custom app. Any Docker container can be put right in here and it shows up as a little card on the desktop that you can use. We even have pre-curated content downloads. So if you come over here to our Content Explorer, like, for example, would you know, what to download? Now, it's giving me a bunch of errors because of the fact that it's not connected to the internet right now.
Yeah, of course.
But look, we've taken all of this information and we've broken it down into various content categories like medicine, survival and preparedness, agriculture and food, computing and technology, DIY and repair, right? So now you can just download what you want and just use our pre-curated collections of content. You don't even have to think about it.
Beautiful. Okay, so this entire build, we'll put show notes at what? I guess nomad.themodernrogue.com, right?
Sure.
What do you hope most for the project going forward?
I hope that it helps people.
Yeah.
Because the way that I look at it is that if I didn't have access to the internet, this is incredibly invaluable.
Wait a minute. I was talking about sea galleons. If you're on a boat, you could probably use this.
Certainly. Yeah, you could use it on a boat, you could use it in RV, off-grid communities, and a lot of the rest of the world would be very happy to have something like this for underserved communities.
This is amazing. All right, thank you so much. Chris Sherwood, where should everybody go?
ProjectNomad.us.
Awesome. Heads up, we got new stuff at scamstuff.com. That's gear for the modern rogue. In this case, it's a collection of 140 of the very best tricks we ever taught on Scam School. And it's all in this awesome repository where there's videos, there's audio commentary tracks on there. It's all the good stuff that we ever taught on Scam School. It's available right now at scamstuff.com. Just search for, Ultimate Definitive Scam School Archive. That's what I'll call it.
This video was supported in part by viewers like you, but they pledged at patreon.com/modernrogue, where we just posted the unedited footage from our lockpick escape video. And that's also where you can get your name in the credits, like Freestyle Coder or Zachary Reddy.
I was laughing on that one. Sorry.
3, 2.
Cool.
That's almost a good one.
This is a microphone-friendly shirt. I purposefully bought it that way.
Whoa, that's tech.
I was about to get so excited. I'm gonna buy one for every guest.